but he was there.
He was there.
He had a role written in for him.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, Matthew?
Not too much, Connor. How are you? What is up with you?
Pretty good. So we saw Supergirl.
We did see Supergirl.
Super-duper girl. That was we saw it on the Thursday night of release.
Yeah, good old pre-release night. My preferred time to go to the movies.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It wasn't the busiest.
No, half. I would say a third of the theater was empty, if not a little bit more.
But yeah. So as of recording, it hasn't even been the full weekend, so we won't mention sales, but we do have some ratings and whatnot we'll get to. But before we jump into, what are you giving it? Before we jump into our spoiler review, what are you rating it?
Out of 10, I'd probably say a 6.5 to a 7.
Yeah, I would say 6.
Yeah, like it had some ups, had some downs.
I'm not gonna go to the theater to see it again.
Yeah,
But I'll probably end up watching it again just to
refresh
maybe
the
pick
mind,
up on
you know.
some things you miss. But generally, there were elements that were fun. There were some that were a bit confusing.
Yep.
For a short film, it did feel a little long, maybe some pacing issues. But overall, I would say it's not the cream of the crop,
Yeah.
but it's also not the worst superhero film I've seen. But without further ado, do you want to get into the stats we do have for the film?
So obviously, release date in America and North America in general is June 26, 2026.
Nice.
I believe the runtime is 108 minutes, from what I remember.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Budgeting and marketing, you're looking at about 186 million plus a marketing budget that is usually undecided to the public. Studios, obviously DC Studios. James Gunn being either a producer or an executive producer, as he's the one that's kind of the front runner for the new DC Cinematic Universe revamp again. The director of Supergirl is Craig Gillespie. Genre is obviously superhero and adventure. And at the time of this recording, IMDb is rating it at 6.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 56% for critics and 77% for the audience. Obviously, some core cast members to introduce. We got Millie Alcock as Supergirl / Kara. We got Eve Ridley as Ruth Meyer-Knoll. We got Matthias Skolniartz as Krem of the Yellow Hills. Jason Momoa as Lobo. David Cornsweet obviously is Kal, a.k.a. Superman, a.k.a. Clark Kent.
Yep.
David Krumholtz as Zor-El, Supergirl's dad. And then the only other fun one I wanted to mention was Seth Rogen, who is the tiny man on the bus.
Oh, very interesting. The writer is also Anna Nogueira.
Yes, and I believe she's helping write some of the future DC products.
This was
as
her,
well.
just off of her IMDb, is her second writing credit ever.
Okay.
So
What's her first one?
first one was a short film, We Win,
Okay.
2018, 5.6. So a little interesting for the choice. I mean, I'm all for giving people, a chance.
Yeah.
But from what I saw, rumored to be needing to hit 350-ish million to break even.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tall task for first feature-length film and a big superhero film at that.
Yes, definitely. She does look like she has some acting credits, and it looks like she's collaborating with James Gunn and helps screenwriting Supergirl, which obviously we're talking about. And apparently she's helping write an untitled Teen Titans film and an untitled Wonder Woman film.
Very interesting. Yeah, so we're going to be getting into spoilers, so if you haven't seen Supergirl,
spoiler warning.
or you don't care, we'll dive right in. So generally, I'm not going to go through the entire story, but very rough points here. We start with Ruth and her family as they're kind of all of a sudden being attacked or...
Well, the bad guys were there because her father is like a blacksmith making high-end weapons. That
So they say. There has been
say.
no This is going to happen a lot during this. There's no context really given to or backstory given to.
That's what I've
Apparently,
picked up through the story.
He's an important weapon maker, and they came to steal the weapons.
Yeah.
That's literally all we get. We see her brother have a very dumb death,
which then causes
the domino effect of the rest of her family dying. This is by Krem of the Yellow Hills. Kills them, then leaves. And then we have Ruth go on to try and recruit someone to get revenge, because that is now her sole objective is vengeance.
Very Princess Bride-esque for her revenge of like, my name is so-and-so, they killed my father. Like
that does end up being kind of her shtick, but also not even half as good of a character.
Oh, gosh, no.
Which is unfortunate, because I did actually read the comic that this was originally named after.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Which they dropped the title of. And I think the reason for that is because it's only very inspired by.
Yes.
It's not like they follow the story, like the comic as a whole. They also add things that are definitely not in the comic. They take a lot out. So similarly, it has a similar vibe at the start. And jump to Supergirl. I can't remember. Was it her 22nd or
23rd
birthday? And she's in this solar system with the red sun. She just so happens to be on this planet that this just so happens to occur on at this time. But I know that like sometimes when people hate on that type of stuff, I'm like, well,
the story's got to happen somehow.
There has to be a story. Like I know that that's convenient, but that's also how the story happens. Convenient things happen.
Exactly.
And yeah, she's just partying it up with just her and her dog, Crypto. She's getting wasted, enjoying the life of being able to feel.
Yeah. So to give people context, if you're not familiar with Superman comics, because they don't really discuss it too much in Superman, and not in this film at all, really, is that different colored suns will give different effects to Kryptonians.
They do mention it. Yeah, they don't mention it in Superman, but they do mention it
more in Supergirl.
They mention it in this. Like, the reason I'm here.
It's because I can feel things and I can get drunk because of the red sun.
It's once she gains powers from a yellow sun.
Yeah.
When it's revealed, like, where'd that come from? And she's like, oh, it's because there's a yellow sun and I was on a red. And then they're like, why would you ever go away from a yellow sun? And she's like, because you can't get drunk. Yeah. So it's
explained a little bit.
Why she does it. So yeah, she's just partying. And then we see the whole, Montoya speech of like, I'm here to get my revenge. I need someone to help me kind of idea. And one of the thugs in the bar steals the sword and is like, I'm out. And then Supergirl's like, guess I gotta participate. Guess I'll be a bigger person. I guess. Like, she clearly has zero interest, but she ends up getting the sword back for her and ignoring her, goes to her ship, blah, 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 blah. Then the way Supergirl ends up joining the gang is we have the villain Krem show up to steal Supergirl's ship, shoots Crypto. Conveniently, obviously, they're in a red sun, so can actually be shot.
Yep.
And they have poison, and it's affecting Crypto. And they're given 3 moon cycles, which is just, 3 days.
72 hours, basically.
To basically get the antidote to heal the dog. Henceforth begins this story of intergalactic space travel, space opera, of hunting down this evil, evil man and getting the antidote to save a dog.
Yep.
And then we jump around galaxies to different planets.
On a space bus for a little bit there.
Fight space pirates, which was that was not a pretty looking fight, to be honest.
No, it was
very choppy.
Really weird.
Yeah, it was choppy looking. Yep. We had what feels like a very James Gunny, funny little short, cute-ish meme character. And yeah, then we end up on, I can't remember the name of the planet, but it's the planet where the Krem and his, I can't remember what they're called, the gang of.
The starts with a B. The Brigands.
The Brigands?
Brigands.
They steal young girls for child brides from this planet, apparently. There's a whole little story with a family, and then they end up tricking Supergirl, and they're gonna trade Supergirl and Ruth to get their daughter back. And honestly, the most important thing that kind of comes from this planet is they just get an innocent family killed. Like a whole family just dies for this. This is where we also see Lobo for the first time. Jason Momoa as Lobo looks great, sounded great. I'm gonna be real frank though. You can take Lobo out of the film does not change. But he was there.
He was there.
He had a role written in for him. They end up going to another planet where we're kind of building towards the final fight, and Supergirl gets baited because the planet is a yellow sun and green sun planet where she's dying from the green sun. She gets saved by Ruth hidden in a cave. And the yellow sun comes up. She's strong again. Final fight happens. Big Bad is defeated. Saved from, the hate of vengeance.
Yeah, Ruth that almost wants to kill him. Supergirl's, no, you're better than this. You don't want to kill.
And then Supergirl kills him.
Yeah.
Finished him for her, if you will.
Yeah.
Then we save the dog. Bada boom, bada binga. And then we end up going.
Comes back to Earth.
And she comes to the realization that, maybe things aren't so bad. She's got Clark. She still has family, if you will. Just because she lost hers doesn't mean she should lean on what she has. And she has, obviously, her dog, too, that she loves. Yeah. She has people that care about her and love her. That's a good thing. And that's kind of where we end. Also sprinkled through that is we do see some Superman scenes kind of trying to check in on his cousin, being like, hey,
Superman popping
how
up
are
from
things
time
going?
to time. Lots of random flashbacks back to Krypton of her at a younger
You say they're
age.
random, but they're not random.
Well, I don't know. I think there was a lot.
They were pretty condensed for the most part, telling her backstory. Whether people want to see a backstory on a superhero film, that's TBD. I feel like for us, it was definitely needed because they changed a few things.
Agreed. Yes.
And if you take that out, the movie's only like probably an hour and 20 minutes.
That's true.
But yeah, I would say some smart choices. Removing the Woman of Tomorrow because you already know that people are just going to automatically really attach themselves to that title and be like, this isn't the Woman of Tomorrow's story. Similar to Civil War in the MCU, where everyone's like, this is not Civil War.
Yeah.
You took some elements from it, but it's not Civil War. It's kind of, and that's how all comic book films are, right? When we look at some of the X-Men films as well,
Days of Future Past.
they take from
Phoenix,
the story, but they adjust it for the film or to work with the limited amount of characters they might have, et cetera, budget, whatnot. So I think it was a good idea to get rid of that. It's obviously not a one-to-one comparison. Film was fun. There were some good moments. Is it the best? No. But I thought Millie Alcock was pretty good.
Yep.
Maybe some of the writing was a bit cringe, but I don't really blame the actor for that. I did think that the few times that we see her and David Cornsweet interact is pretty good. Like, they seem to have pretty good chemistry, which makes me look forward to a film with both of them together.
Yeah. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
But yeah, I think there were some good and some bad to go with the film.
I would agree with that. I think, I think more good than bad, but also it was just like some of the positives I would for sure say is like Jason Momoa was great as Lobo.
Yeah, he looked great, but
he was so unneeded.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I think
you could have tossed any other character in there.
He
it
was
would have
unimportant to the
effect.
plot in every way.
He was a supporting character that came in, kicked some ass, and left.
Did he even say any of like Lobo's iconic lines?
I mean, technically, yes. Lobo is just a dick on a motorcycle who's immortal and just swears all the time and just doesn't give anything. So like,
a bit of a biker mouth.
He did that. I will say I was happy to see. Not that I'm happy to see that Krypto wasn't in the film as much, but the scenes that were with Krypto weren't as like comedic as
it was
they
more
were.
Focused on why Supergirl would go to all this trouble to save Krypto.
Exactly.
Like, Krypto is the only thing she has left of home.
Yeah, it was good to see
He's been with
that.
her since the start, kind of idea.
Yeah,
right?
since her mom's funeral,
so
kind of thing. So like that was nice. Because I was like worried too, like because it's advertised as if Krypto's like in the whole film. Like I find from this trailers, you're like, oh, Krypto's going to be a whole thing.
in a way, he is.
In a way, he
but
is. It's the root of the
through
film.
the flashbacks you don't like.
Exactly. Well, no, I think he was okay in the flashbacks. I just keep thinking back to the scene in Superman where Superman and Lex are having like this intense
and he shows up and
conversation.
slams him.
Yeah, and it just takes away from the scene. I was a little worried that we were going to get more of that, but we really didn't, which was
No,
kind of
but
good.
he plays more of just the catalyst for why the story
Yeah.
happens. And then we get one of the few instances of actually getting backstory and context to why he is as important as he is to Kara.
I think there's very similar camera shots to Superman, which was fine. It definitely gives you a similar feel to Superman at
Zoomed
times.
in flying shots.
Yeah, that's like the one shot I don't like. But there was some good like exterior shots, which I thought was good to really like make the world more immersive. Overall CGI was fine, pretty well. It was fine. It's fine, not like
Some of it was a big CGI blob
Yeah.
and mess at a lot of the
very
times.
green screen scenes.
For a while there, I was like, are we watching Star Wars with how many different aliens we
very
saw?
Star Warsy at time where I was like, it's crazy that there's no humanoids in space. But it's pretty well expected in a superhero film where the CGI is like up in the air. I will say, this is crazy to say for a superhero film, but great use of slow-mo. Especially when it comes to characters that are like rushing fast. There was so much slow motion in the Flash movie, for example. But I think in this film, they used it in a really good way.
For the most part, it was really only used
That one scene in the fight.
the big final fight,
Yeah.
where it's almost gives you a opposite where things are happening fast and the human eye, if you will,
Can't keep up.
can't keep up with what's happening, which we're seeing it kind of from Ruth's eyes. And she's like, oh, stuff's happening, but I can't keep up with what's happening. Then it goes into slow motion to kind of show exactly what's happening for Supergirl, like in her real time.
I thought it was really neat that they did that instead of it just being like full on slow motion, just everything happening at once, which we see so much in comic book superhero films.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a good like switch up, and it wasn't overly used. There was not overly slow motion in the rest of the
everywhere
film.
it needed to be.
Yeah.
I think maybe Lobo had a couple scenes
Small.
like with the whip and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's more to show off, like, hey, look,
She's
we
charged back up.
Well, we did him right.
Yeah.
You know, we did Lobo correct. Like, see, he's got his iconic
He's got his motorcycle.
whip.
He's got the whip.
yeah.
He's got the cigar. Yeah.
So I guess positives, Matt. What are some of your positives?
I mean, yeah, Jason Momoa's Lobo was great. Slow motion scene was good. Crypto was less comedic. Positive in the sense that I was shocked to see Supergirl end the bad guy like she did. I didn't quite expect that because it sounded like she was like up on the up. She's like, yeah, no, like there should be no revenge kind of thing. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. It maybe felt a bit like making her edgy for the sake of having her be a little bit different than Superman.
Yeah,
Like trying to really play into like the mirroring of the two of them.
for sure.
I liked that the film was not longer than it needed to be. It
Yes.
told the story it wanted to tell. It didn't extend it longer than it needed to be. Sometimes you don't need 2 hours, 40 minutes. Sometimes it only is an hour and 40 minutes. And at some points, it did still feel longer. I think some of the pacing was a bit off, or some elements.
Some bar scenes could have
I
been
think
cut
that
a little bit.
That whole bus scene took longer than it needed to as well. But generally, I like the target of that hour 45
Yeah, I would agree.
breaking on that 2 hour mark. I don't think all superhero films should be 2.5, 3 hours long. I think that's unnecessary. And if you need all of this context and backstory, then there's got to either be a different way of telling that, or telling it, especially like this is supposed to be a DCU film, right?
Yeah.
If you have all this stuff that needs to be told, you should be telling elements of it throughout different films. That's the point of having a universe.
Yeah, and that's one of my negatives, but we can get into that after.
But that's it. That's all I got for
Oh,
positives.
fair enough. You want to go through some of your negatives first?
Sure. Starting with Krem. What an awful villain. Dude feels like just the thug of a potential bigger villain the whole film.
Yeah.
It very much feels just like, I just so happened to shoot Supergirl's dog with a poison needle thing, and they just so happen to be in a red sun, and they're after me now.
Yeah.
But like other than that, I don't even think he has any memorable lines. That it's like just a lot of like stupid faces that he makes. So what?
Kill the girl.
Just an
Like,
awful villain. Just
did not like the design
no
of him
good
either.
story to him. No good. Didn't
Purpose?
have purpose. Yeah, there was nothing enjoyable about him as a villain.
Yeah.
This is a pro and a con. We mentioned already. Lobo looked great, was fun, but also literally didn't have to be there. Could have removed him, and it changes absolutely nothing
Yep.
of the film. So I'm going to say that that's kind of a con because I feel like if you're going to bother to write him in, we may as well, one, give a little bit, like the only context we get of him is Supergirl says something along the lines of like, oh, that's Lobo. You don't want to mess with him. He's like an immortal. And that's pretty much it. And you're just like, oh, okay. Why are we scared of him? Is he a bad immortal? Is he?
Yeah.
And then he just so happens to be after the same group. Other than that, like there's nothing giving. I feel like if you're gonna bother to write him in, have him have a little bit more purpose, or have Supergirl have met him before and have like some sort of canter, or something.
Exactly.
What else do I have here? I wrote down. Now this is more so just coming from my understanding of Supergirl. I haven't read many Supergirl comics. I don't know if you've read many Supergirl comics. I did read
Here and there.
Woman of Tomorrow.
Yep.
For this, but generally it felt like maybe some of the lore that I knew was maybe switched up. Not saying that in itself is a negative. It just, I feel like you're taking a character that there's a good chance a lot of people haven't read.
Yeah.
And maybe they only know general things from because they've read Superman or they've watched Superman stuff. So their knowledge is coming from that. And to change the very limited knowledge people might have of the character seems like a weird choice to me.
I agree.
But with that, I will give at least some tip of the hat, I guess, which is they're at least continuing the mirroring of Superman and Supergirl by having it so that Superman's parents sent him to be the god and rule over the people. Where when Supergirl's ship is made and she's sent, they're like, help people.
Yeah, be good, do good.
Yeah, kind of like opposite of what Kal-El has told when he.
Yeah.
So that's just continuing this mirroring of their totally opposite kind of spectrums, but becoming still two symbols of hope within Earth, right? So I feel like that's at least interesting. And since they did change that, they went with that route for Superman because they didn't change. I think that is a version of Superman and his parents. It's not change. It's just a different outlook on his parents. So I liked kind of this idea of following that. Obviously, she's also older than we know her as being older and getting stuck around the sun. This case, she is just straight up younger.
Yep.
And I wrote down had almost too similar of a vibe to Guardians of the Galaxy, even though it's not written or directed by James Gunn. We had all of the different needle drops. We had obviously a space adventure. We had the old school headphones with like a nostalgic track line. That seemed very close to Guardians there. But either you like it or you hate it. I know that some people really disliked the final needle drop, which
Is that the Jimmy Eat World cover? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the song, the middle, kind of works for Supergirl in this story, but not a much slowed down version cover of it.
Do we know who sung it? Like, was it someone that was from the film, or was it just like a cover they found?
It was just a cover.
Oh, okay.
I just think it was, it just didn't fit the final fight with the slow music. Like, it almost takes you out of it a bit.
Okay.
I don't know if it deserves as much hate as it's getting.
I don't think it does.
Because I think maybe the song was a good choice, but maybe just not
the regular. You should have just done the regular version.
Should have done the regular. This one's more of a nitpick, which is there are only 2 Kryptonians that we know of. I guess if you want to include the dog, 3. Sure. Okay, let's include the dog. There's 3 Kryptonians. That, as far as we know within this world, no one even knows it. They just all think of Krypton as gone.
Yeah.
So why on earth is there a specific kryptonite weapon made? That feels so niche and specialized for something that doesn't feel like would ever be an issue.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's just like, okay, so Superman has only ever been on Earth. So outside of Earth, what are the chances that they know that he's a Krypton? Probably not. Then you have Supergirl, who lived in a bubble basically on a meteor rock for what, 15, 16 years? I think she was a teenager, right, when she left Argo to go to Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so now she's only been in the world of space for 8 years. She probably spent time on Earth for at least 2-3 years to learn Common.
Yeah.
So really, she's only been space adventuring for like 5 years, maybe.
Tops. And we at that point we don't even know if
like-
she's just going in and out, like going somewhere, come back,
Yeah.
Earth, coming.
But then how does like the craziness of it is like, oh, how do we know that Kryptonians are still alive? Because even the people that are living in that bubble, they aren't leaving the bubble. They're just dying there. Like no one really leaves Argo City.
Yeah, it's pretty much established that they all died.
Yeah,
And the whole reason they made it, like her dad made her ship, is because he didn't want her to die like everyone else.
exactly. So it's like
it's
how...
weird that the villains would have.
Yeah,
such
here's
a
some
device.
kryptonite bullets that I
Yeah,
just so happen in my arsenal.
That was very bizarre.
Okay.
And then yeah, just there was a lot of things that maybe lacked explanation, backstory, context to the world that we were in. Obviously, like I said, Lobo is a good example of that, where it's just he's just there.
Yeah, he's got his own little mission.
And someone who doesn't know Lobo from the comics or anything is just like, okay.
Oh, he also wants to kill someone that's in that group. Not the main guy.
Why?
But just bounty.
Someone hire him. Someone do this. Someone do that. Who knows?
Yeah.
What else do you have, Matt? For negatives?
Very similar ones to you, or like kryptonite effects. I enjoy the origin of Supergirl, where she's older than him, gets sent out there, but then gets sent to help with her cousin, but then she gets stuck in a gravitational pull around the yellow sun, basically supercharges her, and she just stops aging. So then when she gets to Earth, she's a teenager, and meanwhile Superman's already full grown up. That's how it's in the Supergirl show. That's the origin from what I remember. I think New 52 and even like Bronze Age
in
as
Smallville,
well.
I think similar.
Smallville, same situation. I think it's in like Rebirth or Convergence that they've switched it where she's just younger.
Okay.
But again, we didn't read Convergence or Rebirth.
We did read Convergence. We just were not.
That didn't
That's
sell
when
us.
we started.
That stopped.
That's when we started
basically,
falling
yeah.
off. Yeah.
This is a huge nitpick, but this is just so Matt coded, where similar to what you said earlier, where if they're trying to advance the world and like explore and stuff like that, this is an optimal movie to throw random, even like one-liners off to show how big the world could be or can be, kind of thing. And it's just like when we have Guy Gardner on Earth and we have a lantern show coming, like I was more shocked that there was not even a mention of lanterns going to different planets, stuff like that, seeing any lantern corpse.
I assume it's just because there's also, I mean, there's no mention of it in the original comic.
That's the thing.
Where they're going across intergalactic.
Then neither is Lobo.
Lobo
So
just
it's
happens
like-
to be there.
Yeah, it's one of those things that this is such a nitpick because it's just me wanting to show like the creativity and the
I think
immersiveness
you're
of the
definitely
world.
not wrong where they could have mentioned, could have even been a throwaway line by the rating group where they're just like, we don't want to get caught by the lanterns or something.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause
Or
the
even if
lanterns-
Lobo tells a random story that he was caught by the lanterns at one point, just a
Just because
throwaway.
they're like intergalactic police officers.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and when you're bouncing from planet to planet to planet,
yeah, I guess
you know.
a throwaway line would have been fine. I definitely don't need a Green Lantern showing up because we already.
No,
I think
exactly.
that's kind of where we got from Superman is we're like, okay, they're here.
yeah, they're on Earth. It's cool. Yeah,
Like they're going to be in future stories because
Yeah.
we see that there are lanterns.
I think it'd be cool even if like we like in one of the bar scenes we just see someone sitting at a table and like they have like a red lantern ring on or
Yeah, or
something
if
like
someone tries to tempt her with the red.
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
just something to just a throwaway. But then again, that's just me kind of nitpicking and wanting to the immersiveness of the world
I think
more.
generally, yeah, it's more because it's supposed to be like this Supergirl coming to age story or
Yeah.
coming to grips with her new reality. Like it seems like she's still obviously struggling with everything that happened with her home planet.
Yeah.
And that's just her story. So I guess it's just to avoid a lot of that.
Makes
but just with
sense.
Lobo thrown in for
Yeah,
some
for
comedic
reasons.
relief-ish.
Then this is kind of a negative, but this kind of goes into my enjoyment as well, where for me, the film seems very James Gunn coded. The shots, the humor, the music, which doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, but from both a superhero fan and a film fan, I'm a little worried that this is going to be the feel for all the movies. Because what made Guardians of the Galaxy 1 so well done is that it was a different feel of
Yeah,
a
it was
lot
a
of the other
different
Marvel
vibe.
movies, right? So it's just, I'm not hating on Superman and Supergirl per se, but I'm just like a little worried if the next film that comes out is also a very similar style, it's gonna get stale fast.
Yeah, it did have a lot of like that same general comic book humor that we're kind of become very accustomed to.
Yeah.
This movie wasn't, if I think what I was interested in was that it was kind of supposed to be a little bit more of a deep deeper story,
It
didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
It did still feel very generic and.
It's one of those
still
things.
had
If you
the
told me that
one-liners.
James Gunn directed this, I'd have been like, okay, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
you could have believed it
like,
for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes it so he wasn't was you didn't see his brother.
Yeah, Sean Gunn wasn't in the film.
I was looking. I was like, oh
Hey,
yeah.
where
Oh, wait,
is he?
I was like, oh yeah, he didn't direct
Yeah.
it.
But just, yeah, I'm just a little worried of the future of the DC if this is the feel that they're going with.
It's hard to say because obviously.
We're only 2 movies in.
And
so
the
it's
other
hard
weird thing
to-
is we went from Superman to Supergirl, which does feel very bizarre when you're trying to
Yeah, bizarre.
bring in this new age of DC. It does feel like you should really be hitting all the big ones. You know, who's our Wonder Woman? Who's the Batman?
Yeah, like which is
Who's the Flash?
cool that they're not necessarily doing that, but also like what?
Well,
are the
I'm not
next...
saying we can't have a Supergirl film. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it seems very bizarre that it's the second film.
Yeah, and then like because the next film that comes up is Clayface, which is a
Also
horror film,
random.
but such a C-list
It just feels like
Batman
we're not
villain.
building
to anything.
to the Justice. Let's just say what it is, okay?
Yeah,
If we're mirroring Marvel, obviously the goal of DC is to build to a Justice League, to have some sort of Justice League level event happen where we have all of them together and fight. But we have not even really built anywhere close to that in these first 2 films.
No.
We do see that is a Lantern. We see Superman. So we see Hawkgirl, right? We see elements. Mr. Terrific.
yep.
But then in this one, we only really get Supergirl. And I just feel like if I was building, and I'm not saying you have to rush it, which was the issue with the original DCEU, the Snyderverse, did feel a little bit like we were trying to force all these characters as fast as possible to catch up to Marvel.
Yeah,
But it just feels like we're almost going too slow now. We're like, yeah, let's do Supergirl, Clayface.
but then it's like
And it's
then
like,
we're gonna
why?
go back to Superman 2. Like it literally is Superman, Supergirl, Clayface, which is no point because Batman's not even been casted yet. And then we get Man of Tomorrow, which is a sequel to Superman.
And I know some people are sick of Batman. I've seen a lot of Batman
For sure.
dislike or like fatigue, if you will, because he's a lot of people's favorite hero, and
Yeah,
a
we're
lot of people
still
are,
waiting on the Batman.
and people are getting
Part
tired of
2.
hearing like how powerful Batman is. I get that.
Yeah.
I can get that.
100%.
But also, regardless of how you feel about Batman, he is a immensely important part of the Justice League. And if you don't want to see Batman right away, fine. Okay, where's the Flash? Okay?
Yeah.
Which version of the Flash are we gonna have? Let's see that. You know, let's get Lanterns. At least we're moving towards with the show, right? Okay, that's fine. Where's Wonder Woman? Is this gonna have Martian Manhunter? Are we Martian Manhunting? Are we not Martian Manhunting?
Cyborg, no Cyborg.
Exactly. Like
there's-
where are we going? Let's get the actual Justice League set up.
So I'm looking at it, okay, and based on their thing, they have Chapter 1 instead of Phase. It's
Yeah,
chapters.
sure.
Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and these are the films.
Superman, super people are the gods, I guess.
I guess, yeah. So we got Superman, Supergirl, Clayface, Man of Tomorrow, instead of calling Superman 2. Then we're having a Brave and the Bold film, which apparently is a
That's Batman.
strange father-son story with Damian and Bruce.
Okay.
And then we're getting a Swamp Thing movie, supposedly. And then we're getting a Wonder Woman movie.
Okay.
And those are the movies, not to be confused with the shows. We have Creature Commandos, which was an animated show.
Yeah, I remember.
We have 2 seasons of Peacemaker, which is confusing because
It's like 1.5 seasons.
well, it's season 2, and anything that's referenced from season 1 then becomes canon. It's classic Legends to canon
Yeah,
situation. But then the Suicide Squad movie that Peacemaker's in is not canon.
Okay.
And then we get the Lantern show later this year. And then it looks like we have a pilot order for a Booster Gold show. Then there's a spinoff from Peacemaker called Waller, which is the Amanda Waller show, I guess. And then there is a show called Paradise Lost, which apparently is going to be a political drama about scheming and power struggles on the female island that Wonder Woman is from, but it's going to take place before the birth of Wonder Woman.
Okay.
I don't understand. But
Feels like a lot of shows, and based on what we've seen from Marvel, that's not a good thing. Because guess who's scaled back the shows heavily?
Yep.
And they're the successful one.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, no, that ain't working.
Yeah, we got to slow down.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't have to be rushed, but I think that there should be focus on those big ones. The Wonder
it's
Woman,
just-
the
yeah.
Flash, Batman, get those out. And
It's like if Marvel made a whole cinematic universe and just didn't have Spider-Man for a long time, which they kind of did.
They did do that.
But there was still Spider-Man content coming out.
I guess, but
Maybe that was a bad example.
That's a bad example just because of the licensing, right? Be like if they did it and they didn't have Captain America.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think these two films have not built or set up anything else as far as the greater universe goes. They're just, and that doesn't.
Maybe that's their plan. They're not trying
and
to.
they don't have to. They don't have. Maybe like we're not copying Marvel.
Yeah,
we're doing our own thing. We're just introducing you to characters
and seeing what sticks. Basically, maybe we'll go from there. I don't know.
I just feel like you should target the big boys. Get them in. You know.
Yeah.
Get people caring about who you're casting for those bigger roles that you know are going to have to carry a Justice League film.
Yeah.
And we have, obviously, there's no, like you mentioned, there's no Justice League yet. Who do you think they're going to pick as a villain as Justice League?
I have no idea. Because it all depends how space they want to go.
We're really jumping out there. Do we go Brainiac then?
I mean, Brainiac would be the one that they're setting up, if anything.
That's what it feels like, right? With how much space stuff we're kind of...
How much space and how much Kryptonian-based stuff. It
feels like they're the important...
Unless they do, like... It really depends what happens in Man of Tomorrow, because Lex Luthor has his Iron Man suit. But then if he starts experimenting, maybe Doomsday... Not Doomsday. Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday.
Right? Would be the villain of Phase 1. I don't know. But then it's also confusing if you have 3 super films and then you're going off doing Swamp Thing and Wonder Woman and, like...
Yeah, the Swamp Thing... feels very random.
Very random. Apparently, it's just a passion project for the director.
Which is awesome, because then it has a very...
As a fan of Swamp Thing, totally excited for it.
Yeah, exactly. It has such a good chance of being greater. But...
I'm not going to get my hopes up. It just seems
where does it fit in?
It's like the Clayface film. What's the point?
Yeah, just...
Sure.
Where does... Maybe we had like a crime syndicate?
Justice League Dark? Like...
Crime Syndicate could be cool, having, it's something different, but that's a lot of characters then.
Well, I mean, I guess that kind of comes down to how Avengers Doomsday does.
Yeah, it's true. But
anyways, I think it's a solid film. Unsure if I'd go back to theaters to watch it right away. I know some of my friends want me to go, and I'm just like, Like, it's not a bad film. I'm happy I went. I always enjoy going to theaters to see a movie.
Yeah.
But I'm in no rush to like
I said, I don't think it's bad, and definitely not as bad as everyone's saying it is.
Correct.
It's definitely getting too much hate, but it's also not good. It's definitely and that when it comes to superhero films, not everything can be the best, right? Like you can't ever be like, oh yeah, it was unreal. And not everything can be the worst.
Correct.
You're gonna have mid-table, mid-feeling films, and that's just what it is. It's just a mid doesn't mean bad.
Mid film, yeah.
Mid just means it's in the middle.
Mid.
It's just, it's somewhere in that middle area of good and bad.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I thought that there were some good takeaways, and I personally am looking forward to seeing the return of Millie Alcock coming back as Supergirl, because I did enjoy some elements of her acting.
Yep.
I think that maybe she wasn't given the best script for some parts of it.
But overall, she was pretty solid.
I don't think she was the worst character. I think that Ruth was probably one of the worst characters. She's just so annoying in the way, didn't provide much.
Yeah, but then she also kind of needed to push the story forward.
Yeah.
But that's hearsay. If you enjoy listening to Connor and I talk about movie reviews and everything like that, make sure you check out on our YouTube, Marvel Mondays. Every Monday, Connor and I post a video about going through the MCU in release order. At the time of this release, we are finishing up Phase 4 of the MCU.
Yep, finishing up Phase 4, finish up Phase 5, and then we're pretty much going to either start shifting. I don't know. We haven't decided yet if we're going to start doing our podcast reviews of an episode and move that to the Marvel Mondays, or
just keep on the Marvel train of Marvel movies.
Yeah, we might just jump into old school Marvel films in release order, starting with Blade.
Okay. Starting with Blade.
Because Matt mentioned that there's
a Howard the Duck film, and then there's also the Nick Fury film where David Hasselhoff plays Nick Fury.
Yeah, so we're going to start with Blade.
I think Blade's a good spot to start.
So yeah, if you want to check those out, we do release those every Monday, as well as every podcast every Wednesday.
Yes.
So, though, prolonging this, 6 out of 10 for me. 7 out of 10 for you?
6.5.
6.5 for Matt?
Yeah, it's tough, yeah.
Let us know what you thought of Supergirl down in the comment section below. Let us know if you're going to go see it again. I'm curious to see if there's any repeat watchers, because that's kind of what Matt's sitting on the fence of. Is it worth going to the theaters? Theaters are expensive.
Theaters are expensive. I think, I don't know, anytime I go to the theater, it's always a fun experience. It's very immersive, and I think what I enjoy the most about going to the theaters is that it forces me not to be on my cell phone and really lock in and watch the film. Because I feel like when you're watching a movie at home, your cell phone's just right there.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know down below, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you. And see you next week.